Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Let's Play Jane's Fighter's Anthology. Today we will be showcasing what I believe is the last French aircraft that was in service with the Egyptian Air Force in the campaign. Now, curiously enough, the Rafale, back in 98, 99, 2000 when this was released, the export orders for the Rafale were but a glimmer or a gleam in Assault's eyes, because they were having problems getting the frickin' French government to keep the project going. So, let's see, we will take on custom weapons load. Command HQ being defended by French or Egyptian F-16A disciplines. And I think that's good for our quick mission. Flare, Defa Cannon, Micahs. Okay, what do we want? We'll keep the pair of Micahs. R550 Magic 2, is that the best they got? I guess it is. Then as far as air ground ordnance goes, we can use the AS-30L and let's see, maybe have some big boys here. We can't fit those. Fit a pair of slicks, can't fit those. That would be a little ridiculous, but you know, gotta try. Can we fit 3 packs? No. Can we fit more? Maybe we use the AS-15. There we go. I think that'll just about maximize our loadout here. So with that, let's get in. Alright, radar out, jamming on. The first thing I want to show off is we do have reduced radar cross section. Definitely not as reduced as like the X-32 or the F-22, but still somewhat reduced.
19 miles.
Oops. There we go. Let's move to intercept these guys. I don't know what that ugly sound is, but I don't want to listen to it. So the Rafale started in mid-1970s request by the French Air Force and the French Navy for a new fighter. In 1979, Dassault joined the European Collaborative Fighter Project,
I'm taking a shot.
which, and we're not even in optimal firing range yet.
Flash 1 bandit. I'm taking heat. Missile launch. Bullseye.
Ow. Oh, okay.
I'm taking a shot.
I didn't think they'd
Missile launch.
get one off so quick.
Alright. Missile launch. I'm taking damage. I'm hit. Oh, I'm taking heat.
Oh, our wingmen aren't doing so great.
I'm taking a shot. I'm taking a shot.
And here we can see our, oh, there they go. I was starting to think our missiles were only rear aspect. We must be inside the minimum range. Alright, that's another F-16 down. I think they're all within 5 miles now. Is that the last one? Can't find any bandits, okay.
Disengage.
Let's take a moment to collect ourselves here, switch our air-to-ground radar. Now, for this European Collaborative Fighter Project, Dassault contributed kind of like the concept of a twin-engine, single-seat, large delta-winged fighter. But this project ended up being, it ended up collapsing in 1981. But in 1983, Europe tried again, and they had a new program, the Future European Fighter Aircraft Project, which they got the UK, France, Spain, West Germany, and Italy to sign on as kind of founding members. However,
your 1 o'clock flow, 9 miles.
There we go. However, in 1984, actually, before I get that far, I should mention that this project would eventually result in the Eurofighter Typhoon, which we'll see more of probably in the Baltics campaign. But, oops, there we go. But in 1984, France demanded, well, a couple of things. They wanted a carrier-capable variant to be made, and France also demanded that Dassault take the leading role for the entire project, something which incensed many of the countries working on it, as this was supposed to be a collaborative project. You know, so all the countries would, you know, your share or your role would be determined by how much you put into it. Our missile's not working. My understanding was that, do I have to take a laser pod? I was kind of hoping something as new as the Rafale would have the laser pod built into it, but maybe not. In any case, so Spain and France eventually withdrew from the project because of
your 4 o'clock flow. Engaging.
Because of these demands that were obviously not met. Well, the missiles do nothing with the 2,000-pound warheads, but apparently our cannon can mess it up pretty well. That's amusing to me. In any case, so Spain and France eventually withdrew on August 2nd, 1985, although Spain rejoined a few months later in September 1985, despite French pressure to stick with France for their for Dassault's own project. And Dassault took all the work they did. Well, this part's hearsay, but from what I heard, Dassault was working on the engines, and when they left the project, they took all their work on the engines with them, which forced the Eurofighter team to kind of rebuild that from scratch. I don't know if that's true, but I can believe that with how France can be with their arms industry. The Rafale A prototype first flew in July 4th, 1986, which featured, you know, your large delta wing. That's typical of French and now European fighters in general. All moving canard, so you see those teeny tiny wings on front. Those guys should be moving like any other control surface. And also a fly-by-wire system, and it initially flew with GE F404, GE 400 engines, because the engine they were developing for the Rafale was still in development, and they were a little concerned about its performance, so they bought some Super Hornet engines, or not Super Hornet, excuse me, regular Hornet engines, and they flew the first prototype of that until the French engines were more mature, which again I consider to be another unusual move by France, given how they like to... What? Our bullets were just going right through it. But given how much they preferred their own arms industry over others, I find that move kind of surprising. I'm just going to... we'll see if these missiles have any more effect on this command HQ than they did the bunker. I'm hoping they'll do a little bit more. But the Rafale A was eventually retired in January 1994, having served its purpose as a development platform. Yeah, they're just dumbfiring. Well, something did something to it. But yeah, you can see a lot of missiles just went right through the building. So I'm starting to increasingly think that my theory that the game doesn't render hitboxes until you're in range for the high resolution models, which is like about 1 nautical mile, is increasingly true with this building. But yeah, the engines that would eventually be fitted are the Snecma M88 engines. France tried, but ultimately failed to interest Belgium, Denmark, and Norway in the Rafale. And it was originally expected to enter full service in 1996, but with the end of the Cold War, budget cuts took their toll, and this resulted in cost overruns, delays, budget cuts. Let's see, deliveries or orders were cut, you know, your usual end of Cold War stuff. Now, the Rafale C prototype first flew in May 19th, 1991, and this prototype trialed the M82-2 engines, and the production variants of the Rafale compared to the A variant, whoa, watch buddy, featured improvements, you know, like the upgraded engines, designs incorporating radar absorbent material, improvements in stealth geometry, and additional composite materials. So while they are not going to be as stealthy as, say, an F-22 or F-35, they do have some stealth. They're basically, they're kind of like the equivalent of the Super Hornet, you know, whereas the Super Hornets incorporate, I don't know if they incorporate any radar absorbent materials or coatings, but I do know they use composites and some geometry to reduce their radar signature. The Block 3s might actually incorporate some RAM, since they're supposed to have further stealth improvements over the Block 1 and 2 Super Hornets. And the two-seat Rafale B prototype variant also flew in April 20th, 1993. Now the B variant, the C variant is like the Air Force version, single-seat fighter. The B variant was originally intended to be a trainer version, but after seeing how dual-seat fighters and strike aircraft performed in the Gulf War, particularly the F-15E Strike Eagle, France decided to missionize that second seat and make the aircraft fully combat capable. Who's left? There you are. And the Navy considered while they were building the Rafale, they considered upgrading their Crusaders or buying some secondhand Legacy Hornets, just to kind of cover things until they could get the Rafale M, which is the navalized version online. They eventually decided for a upgrade to their Crusaders, which honestly didn't do much. Well, we must have taken a hit to our rudder, because I cannot turn right for, I can't rudder right for shit. But there we go. We'll just head to Luxor Air Base then. Okay. But yeah, eventually they decided to upgrade the Crusaders, which didn't do a whole lot. I mean, there's not really a lot of room in the Crusader for upgrades. You know, they are essentially your short-range last-ditch fleet protection. Excuse me, because, you know, they had short-range radar. They could only carry, you know, their magic missiles. It's, you know, they were slow, relatively speaking, that, you know, they can only do, like, Mach 1 something short range. You know, if you imagine a Crusader fighting even like a MiG-23, it would be a bit of a slaughter, I think. But But yeah, so they decided just for a cheap upgrade to keep them in service while they put all their efforts into continuing development of the Rafale M, and their naval prototype that first flew in December 12th, 1991, and it was tested during the summer of 1992 at Naval Air Station Lakehurst, which is in New Jersey, I believe, as France has no land-based catapults or carrier-style test facility like the U.S. maintains. So the first production Rafale M rolled off and was introduced to the French Navy on July 7, 1999, with their first deployment in March 2002 aboard the Charles de Gaulle, and currently they are up to 44 Rafale M's procured. The French Air Force currently has 102 Rafale C and B variants as of 2018 when this video, 2019 when this video was made. 2018 is what Wikipedia says, so they might have a few more than that now. And after many years of trying, the Rafale has finally gotten export orders. It took them a long while. They tried very hard. Certainly the French government didn't help when they cut the budget and cut their orders, but so far they've got export orders for Egypt, India, and Qatar for a total of 98 orders, a good chunk of which has already been delivered, with the exception of Egypt, which is a more recent order and which will probably be argued about, because India, I say Egypt because I meant India, but India they have their own procurement problems with regards to procuring stuff from other countries. And it's currently, as of this video, competing in competitions for a new fighter aircraft for Finland, Malaysia, Spain, Switzerland, and the UAE. Alright. And their first before I get to there, the Rafale M, the naval variant, is often cross-decked with U.S. Navy carriers, so it's pretty much the only foreign aircraft you have a chance of seeing on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, as since France is really the only other operator of a conventional Catabar carrier. You know, this is the only aircraft that can really cross-deck with the U.S. Navy. Everyone else typically uses ski jumps. I mean, I suppose some of China and Russia's fighters would theoretically be able to cross-deck, but obviously you're not going to see that with tensions being what they are. And their first combat deployment was in 2002 in Operation Enduring Freedom, where they flew from the Charles de Gaulle over Afghanistan, but the F-1 variants had no air-to-ground capability, so that's all they did. Now, starting in 2016, Rafale M's, once again flying from the Charles de Gaulle, started striking at ISIS positions in Syria and Iraq. And they were also flown in Operation Odyssey Dawn against Libya and Mali. And then also in Mali, which is not part of Operation Odyssey Dawn, where they were assisting French forces, which are intervening there. I forget the exact circumstances of Mali. It was in the news a few years ago, but the biggest thing I remember was there was controversy because a French soldier had a skull mask on, and everyone threw a fit over that, which it's like, why? You know, it's just a mask, but... And in addition to additional stealth improvements, upgraded variants include, this is for base variants, so in addition to the stealth, the Rafale also includes a full glass cockpit, data fusion, a PACE radar, passively electronically scanned array, which in the F2 and F3 variants was upgraded to an active electronically scanned array radar, and a full suite of air-to-air and air-ground weapons, like what you would expect of the, the F-15E Strike Eagle or the Super Hornet. You can see we are able to carry the Super 530, the Magic 2, the Mika, which is kind of like France's AMRAAM version. It also has a built-in forward electro-optical sensor and can also support targeting pods. I think the Damocles is France's targeting pod, although that might be Israel's. I can't quite remember. Oh, and you know, your standard integrated air defenses, chaff, flares, jammers, you know, the whole 9 yards. And the radar they use is the Thales RBE-2, and they're currently up to the F3 standard for the fighters. And Dassault is currently working on an F4 version of the fighters, and that's like their version of blocks for like the U.S. Air Force or U.S. Navy. And that's really all there is to say about the Rafale. I find it amusing that this game predicted that Egypt would eventually buy these, but then as this campaign showed, they have a history of buying from France, so in a way, I guess it's not really a surprise. The real surprise is that it took so long. So I believe that concludes the tour of the Egyptian aircraft, obviously with the exemption of the Gazelle, since we can't pilot helicopters in this game. So we'll probably move on to the F5 next, and we might fly the F4E Desert and the F-16A Falcon, but yeah. With that, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next time, and we'll see you then.